Boom. Who do we have today? Ben Barrientos.
So I know that you wanted to be an insurance agent from the get because that's what every kid wants to be.
No.
So tell me, what is your secret?
You don't really know if your callers suck, if your leads suck, or if your system sucks.
That's awesome,
So
man.
you open the doors and everything just was skyrocketed. It was perfect.
My thing is, so here, I'll tell you my secret, and it's 100% honest.
Buckle up. It's the Insurance Dudes podcast.
Well, thank you, Ben Barrientos, for joining the Insurance Dudes. Welcome to the world famous Insurance Dudes. We're very big in Greece.
Okay.
We're all greased up.
All
Second
greased
time
up.
I've used that joke.
Yeah,
Not a good
it's a
one.
good one. So you're in the insurance business.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, why don't you tell us? Number one.
Ooh,
What's the first question?
Mr. Craig.
The first question.
First
And
question.
you may even be able to, the viewers, those viewing, have a hint of what Ben's first concert was. But go ahead and tell us.
Real Big Fish.
Real
Yes.
Big Fish, some ska.
Yes. I grew up loving ska, so that was like my favorite thing, going to check out punk rock bands, Mustard Plug,
Yes.
It was I grew up in Utah, and so they had X96 would have like their concerts, and they'd have lots of different bands that would come in and stuff. It was awesome.
Okay, the second thing is, now this is trickier, Ben. Now look behind Jason there.
Yes.
I called him not Jason. What in the hell is wrong with me? Look behind him, and
You got it.
what famous 80s sitcom is behind him?
Is that Married with Children?
Ooh, close.
Is it
Now
close?
imagine somebody it's close because she was grumpy and so was he. The person behind me was grumpy
Yes.
and so was.
Does she have a high voice? No.
Yes.
Oh,
She lives in Hawaii now, I think.
that's not Fran Drescher, right?
Oh, that's exactly what Craig sounded like.
That's who he sounded like, right?
Yeah, it is.
I don't even know what I'm doing over here.
Roseanne.
Oh,
You can look at the quilt. The quilt gives it away for me.
You're right. They were both grumpy.
So Ben, kind of take us back. So I know that you wanted to be an insurance agent from the get because that's what every kid wants to be.
No.
So tell us. So at what point, how did you get into it, man?
I actually, when I was in college, I was working as a flight instructor, and I used to teach people how to fly. That was my 9 to 5. And
Wow.
I saw that the industry was tanking and there was no jobs. So I was like, you know what? I need to make a career change. So I started looking into sales because you can make a lot of money in sales. And it was more about how good you are at what you do. And that's how you got paid. Wherein as a pilot, it doesn't matter how good you are. As long as you don't die, you just stay alive longer, you get paid more. And so, it's all based on how long you've been with the company, and then what licenses you have. So basically, I, started looking around, and I actually happened to call up my sister's boss, who was one of your guys' guests, Kirk Baker. And
Captain Kirk.
Captain Kirk, yeah. So
Good dude.
he told me, he's like, you know what? Insurance is a great gig if you're good. You can make good money. You have freedom and flexibility. You can be self-employed. You're an independent contractor. And I was like, well, heck, maybe I'll look into it. And I went and actually worked with his brother for about 3 years, learning the industry. And we did very well. And then eventually I opened up my own agency, and, we hit huge numbers and did very well. And, been very blessed.
That's awesome,
So
man.
you open the doors and everything just was skyrocketed. It was perfect.
I was terrified. So when I was working for Kirk's brother, we started dabbling in internet leads, and their production at the time was maybe 20, 25 apps or policies on a monthly basis. And, we were trying to increase that. And, it was personal lines almost exclusively. We did almost no commercial lines. And we started hitting, 80 to 100 policies a month. And we were doing very well. And it was when we started buying internet leads. This is when internet leads were a brand new thing, before, I think it's insuranceleads.com bought all the companies. Bankrate bought all of them and made them all one company back when there was like 10 different companies. And the cost for a lead was like $1.50 instead of like $15 like they are now. Nice. When I decided to open my agency, I opened up with 7 agents working under me, and they were all on a salary. And I spend anywhere from $5 to $10 a month in internet leads, and I was just sweating bullets. I mean, I got so in debt. I got over $100,000 in debt within 6 months. I blew through my savings. But we were hitting record numbers. I mean, we were doing 200 to 300 policies a month, and we were just closing deals like crazy. And the first month, I blew through $40,000 in my first month. And I was terrified. But once the sales started coming in, and then once renewals hit, I was living on a cloud. Within a year, I was able to pay off my $100,000 in debt, and I was making money. I was able to live well, and things were great, So it took a while, and it took a lot of risk and a lot of guts. But I was able to achieve some great things in those first few months of having opened my agency. And it was scary. I mean, I remember I would stay in the office till midnight. One time I had a cop come into my office, and I'm sitting there working, and he's like, "What are you doing here?" And I'm like, "I'm working." And he's like, "Well," he's like, "We're not accustomed to seeing businesses on this street open this late, so we thought maybe there was some kind of a break-in." And I'm like, "No, I'm the owner. Here's my ID, and like my name's on the door."
That's so good.
And he was like, "All right, well, go ahead and carry on." I'm like, "Well, but thanks for checking in on me. That's really nice of you to come in." And guns weren't blazing, so I was happy about that. But
I wish people would break in and close leads.
Right.
Yeah, that would be a good problem.
But yeah, I mean, that's basically that's the story of how I started in insurance, and it's a fun one.
What are you using today?
I'm kind of software agnostic. We've used all kinds of stuff. I mean, we've used from different programs, from DYL to Velocify to Salesforce. Primarily today is Salesforce. I mean, I still have Salesforce systems. I still have Salesforce programs running. But I will tell you, Salesforce is a huge investment. It's very expensive. It's very complicated. I don't typically recommend people to just jump into Salesforce unless you are very tech savvy. It's a very difficult thing to do. I will tell you my favorite program that I ever used, and I don't even use it anymore, was Velocify.
Right.
They have a very clean, very good system. It's very expensive now. They have almost exclusively gone over after the financial industry, and it's a very expensive system. And ideally, they actually have a program where Velocify sits inside of Salesforce. And that was my favorite program to use. I don't use it anymore, but that's something that I think, if you want to dump loads of money into this and you want to create a Cadillac program, then that's what you want to do. But you don't have to do that. That's the thing, is you don't have to go crazy. You don't have to dump $10,000, $20,000 a month into this. There are ways to do it nowadays with so many leads that have been purchased and are resold. The challenge that most people have today is that they want to do as little work as possible and get the highest rate of return. But it just doesn't work that way. You have to find a niche, and you have to find a gimmick, a way that you're going to get in, whether that's going after X dates or whether that's going after specific business types. If you're going to go in the commercial industry, you got to find you can't just go and say, I'm going to go after all home and auto leads, and I'm just going to call out of aged leads. You can do that. You can do a telemarketing campaign off of aged leads. You will run yourself ragged if you're calling it yourself. And half the time, if you're not calling it yourself, you don't really know if your callers suck, if your leads suck, or if your system sucks, or your agents that are getting the leads just don't know how to close. So there's so many unknown factors. I always tell people, do it yourself first, see what works, and then go from there.
Tell me, what is your secret?
My thing is, so here, I'll tell you my secret, and it's 100% honest. Finding people, because in my experience, your team, you're only as good as your team. So your people are the most important thing. Finding the right people that will help you grow.
So Ben, what would you, somebody coming into the industry new, or somebody who wants to revamp their agency, what would be the one piece of advice that you would give that agent?
The thing that I'm finding nowadays for insurance agents, don't be a generalist. Find a niche. You gotta find a niche. You will, especially if you're starting out, like maybe once you're 10 million, then you can take whatever comes your way and you have employees that handle it and go. But if you're starting out, get a niche.
I think there's no better advice than what you just said in finding that niche and then making it something that you enjoy, right?
Totally.
Ben, so good to have you. Thank you for hopping on. And I know that the dudes and dudettes will love this one.
All right, guys.
Thank you. We will talk down the road, buddy.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ben.
Hey, you've got to check out the Insurance Dudes Inner Circle coming soon, where you get extended interviews as well as live coffee talks in our private Facebook group. Join the mailing list today at theinsurancedudespodcast.com. Hey, thanks for checking out the Insurance Dudes. Hey, please subscribe. We got some really great stuff coming out.